Hello everybody, this is Claricia Myers coming to you live from Reese's Domain, and I've been reading a book. I told you that I'll be coming to you and just sharing a little bit of what I have learned. I started this book. It's called The 4-Hour Workweek, written by Timothy Ferris. And the section that I read is called Rules That Change the Rules. Specifically, beating the game, not playing the game. It was like beating the game. And you know how sometimes if you go to, I don't know if it's in Walmart or maybe at like Golden Corral, you see this place, thing where all these stuffed animals, it's a claw thing. You put in some money and then you have these controls and you guide it to pick up some kind of a toy. They say that there is a system to doing it. There's some kind of a system. Well, it made me think of that while I was reading this little section. Timothy Ferris said that in 1999, when he won the Kickboxing Championship, you remember he came back from Hainailu, he came back from China and decided to enter this competition. The competition was a Chinese Kickboxing Championship. And he knew nothing about it, but he actually entered on a dare. Someone dared him to do it, and he decided to do it. So 4 weeks he was preparing for this game. He didn't know anything about it, but he prepared. And the thing is, he was looking at the rules. And he had two things going for him. He learned how to dehydrate himself because all the competitors had to, prior to their match, they had to go and weigh in, and they had to be in a certain weight. So he did some dehydration techniques and he said he lost 28 pounds in 18 hours. So when he weighed in, he was 165, and then he hydrated back to 193 pounds so that he was already in a certain weight for the competition. But when he came back now to do the actual fighting, he was heavier than those weaklings. And another thing that was going for him is that there was a technicality in the fine print. He says the rule said if one opponent knocked the other opponent out off the platform 3 times within that match, then by default you won. And so guess what he did? Because he was now heavier than the other opponents, as he was fighting them, his goal was to knock them or push them out of the off the platform, so he won by default. And so I was thinking, well, that's not really fair. But he said, that's within the rules. And he said he was able to, hi Sipo, glad that you're joining me. I was just sharing a little bit about what I've learned about the 4-hour work week. So he says you need to be able to learn how to win and not necessarily to play the game. And so that's how he ended up winning the championship. He used his body weight to push his opponents off the platform, and then because he also studied the rules and because of the technicality, it was still within the rules of the game. And so he even made reference to a man named, his name was Dick Fosbury, who was an Olympic champion. That's when he debuted for the high jump. You know how they have that not a javelin, but that pole that they run really fast. Well, Dick Fosbury, he came up with this other technique where he went over the bar head first, but twisting his body while he's in the air so that his back faced the bar. And that was uncommon at that time. And so, of course, all the judges were like spellbound. Well, is that right? But the audience, they were just captivated by that. And so now that technique is now standard in the high jump. And the technique that Ferris used about his weight, changing his weight, dehydrating himself, and then hydrating. So that's now standard in those competitions. That, along with pushing people out of you're pushing the opponent off the platform, that is now standard. So he uses that as an example to learn the rules of the game, but then also find some. He says he read the rules and searched for unexploited opportunities. Find unexploited opportunities. So I'm like, okay, how do you go about doing that in whatever field that you're in? So I'm interested. My interest is piqued because I want to know, how did he do that in so many other areas? So that's what I've read today. Again, this was just based on about 3 pages that I've read. And you might want to read this book along with me. Maybe we can engage. All right, I'm seeing, I guess one has to dive deeper to learn more than what others do not know. That's exactly right. So, excuse me. We have to find unexploited opportunities. So it's not that you're cheating, but you're finding loopholes within the rules. So the title was Rules That Change the Rules. Anyway, that's what I found out. And thank you for joining me, Sipo. Okay, I'm going to just back up. Hi, Sipo. It sounds like not a fair game. That's what I thought too, because, you have to go by the rules. But then if there are areas within the rules that are not specified, I don't know, by default. So I guess you have to really examine what's there and what's not. All right, well, thank you for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow, Thursday. Have a great night. Bye now.